Greetings and salutations, horror movie fans. My name is Gilbert Ybarra, and welcome back to the Attic Review. In the wide world of movies, we've got many different genres. And within those genres, we have some crossovers, sometimes some collaborations. One of those is wildly popular, like the rom-com. Me, myself, I love How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, okay? So, every once in a while, I like to see that romantic stuff. Makes me cry a little bit, and then I get to laugh, and that laugh reassures me that I don't like that sappy shit after all. Totally kidding. I love my rom-coms. But what do I love more than rom-coms? A horror comedy collaboration. That shit is some of my favorite stuff and kind of overlooked sometimes. Because seriously, comedy and horror just feel like they go together. They're like ingredients that complement each other. So when I don't have one without the other, it feels like Kool-Aid, no sugar. Peanut butter, no jelly. Ham, no burger. I like to have comedy and horror together because I like to laugh after I'm done screaming. With all of that being said, I bring to you 5 horror comedy movies that are great to watch any time of the year. Let's check them out. Now, similarly to the list that I just put out about 10 movies you should watch for spooky season, this list doesn't have an exact pecking order, so the movies that I selected are just for fun that you would enjoy, and again, no real power rankings, like this one's number 2, this one's number 3, so with that being said, I bring to you a 1999 release that was kind of a goodbye to the 90s, starring studs of the time like Devon Sawa, the ageless one Seth Green, and the beautiful Jessica Alba in this horror comedy, almost kind of a romance too, in Idle Hands, if I can get that, Idle Hands. Oh shit, I actually kind of forgot about the romantic elements, but how could I? Maybe it's because I was so jealous of Devon Sawa getting all that screen time with Jessica Alba, but I digress. Okay, so Idle Hands, we've got Devon Sawa playing Anton. Anton is a dirtbag, lazy, scumbag son of a bitch, and of course Jessica Alba's gotta love him. But that's not the point of the story. Devon Sawa's character, Anton's hand gets possessed by some demonic possession, okay? As a result, he goes on a killing spree, killing his 2 best friends, and just running a terror train on his hometown. And no one is safe from his wrath. But you know what? It really isn't Anton's fault. It's his stupid hand, and you know what? He loves Jessica Alba so much. Who wouldn't cut off their own hand for Jessica Alba? So a lot of other funny stuff happens in this movie. A lot of scary stuff too. I was really surprised by some of the jumps and some of the scares in this. No, seriously, the opening sequence was surprisingly scary, and the opening musical score for the credits and everything, god damn, that was nice. And then the end scenes were like the high school. Woo! A lot of carnage, and it's enjoyable, and of course just watching Jessica Alba doing her dance. I don't mean to sound like, but it was just at the time, I don't think anybody was really ready for Jessica Alba to do that performance, and the movie was a lovely little menage a trois of romance, comedy, and horror, so Idle Hands, check it out. Now, the geniuses that brought you Super Troopers decided to try their hand in horror as well, and they decided to go with a slasher set on a Jimmy Buffett-style resort island where they can't find out who the goddamn killer is. People are getting picked off left and right, and there's still a lot of comedy stuff because if you've ever seen Super Troopers, you know how funny these guys are. But what movie are we talking about? We are talking about Club Dread. Released in 2004, I personally always felt that Club Dread was the perfect hybrid of comedy and horror. One of the first comedy horrors that I saw where horror was the main drive because we saw a lot of spoofs up until that point, like with Scary Movie and things of that nature. But with Club Dread, they actually really did put a lot more emphasis on the killer and what was going on around the island as far as scare-wise. For example, there's a particular scene where they're doing sort of like a Pac-Man style game where they're real life people are running around through this little maze, and it's so funny because who would have thought to put that on screen of real life Pac-Man? But in it, all of a sudden it turns really dark when the killer gets his victim. Like, oh my god, I was just laughing. How did you turn the switch so fast? And that's some of the genius of Club Dread. These guys that brought you Super Troopers are so comfortable making you laugh that when the scares hit, they hit even harder, and that's why I really do, on any night, watch Club Dread for some great laughs, and honestly, watch out for that killer, man. He's scarier than he seems. So, this next film right here is beyond brilliant. It is so genius in the way that we're watching what's a perfect case of everything's not what it appears to be. If you've ever watched Hoodwinked, you'll see that you'll see the story and then you go back and not everything is as it appears on the surface. Wonderfully written, better acted, great script, and amazing characters. I mean, what movie are we talking about? We are talking about 2010's Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Tucker and Dale are best friends. They just bought a vacation home and they are hell-bent on turning that dilapidated piece of turd into a wonderful home because they are best friends and they want somewhere where they can go fishing and just hang out and do dude stuff. However, all their plans come to a screeching halt by some overly aggressive college dudes and gals, and all of a sudden, their just little getaway to redo their home turns into a bloodbath. But it is not their fault. One of the beautiful co-eds named Allison accidentally falls into one of the marsh area and Tucker and Dale save her. However, again in miscommunication, her friends think that she's abducted. As they're trying to get her back from these innocent friends, oh my goodness, these guys just become victims of horrible circumstances as they one by one kind of kill themselves. And it all appears that Tucker and Dale are at fault for this in this hilarious misunderstanding of a horror film. I mean, it is sadly hilarious as we are watching these two desperately try to clear their names after these co-eds are just accidentally murdering themselves. And honestly, who's going to believe that these two rednecks out in the woods with, hearts of gold aren't at fault for what's going on? So Tucker and Dale versus Evil, check it out, it's worth it. Now for all you DoorDash, Postmates, Uber Eats, all those drivers out there, you guys will really appreciate this movie, in which a lonely girl is just trying to make a living as a pizza delivery gal, and she gets stuck going to S-Town, which is called Scrooge Town, alright? And all she wants to do is just make some cash, but it is not gonna happen because these people are awful. Okay, awful is really kind of downplaying what they are, alright? We've got a bunch of Satanists, and she walks in on the ritual, and wait a minute, I'm so sorry. What movie are we talking about? We are talking about Satanic Panic. Released in 2019 and starring Rebecca Romijn and her husband, Jerry O'Connell, they lead a cult, a satanic cult, and trying to teach the dark arts to their neighbors. Instead of trying to help people get rich faster, they are basically saying we're gonna sell our souls and get everything we ever wanted just by doing satanic rituals. And it starts with this lonely pizza delivery girl named Sam from, no, she's not from Australia, but Australia. You'll see why that is so funny in the movie. In Australia. I'm so sorry, you gotta watch the movie. So again, we watch Sam with every ounce of her soul trying to get away from these people because again, the ritual they want to do to her is not fun. Once you see the movie, you're like, oh shit, run Sam, run! It's got some great comedic actors all over the place and honestly some shocking, jaw-dropping death scenes in there and accidental death scenes that make the movie a ton of fun. So Satanic Panic, another one for you to enjoy. So I love all of these movies for different reasons, I really do. But this last one that I'm going to talk about holds a special place in my heart because I saw and discovered this movie when I was in Iraq. I saw it with my battle buddies and I hold it dear and true to my heart now. This movie was set in the English countryside and for the most part it's almost like From Dusk Till Dawn. Not necessarily the content, but the style, in that watching the movie, you don't know really what you're in for. You don't know it's going to be a scary movie until it pops up out of nowhere, and that third act is genuinely frightening, but also scary at the same time. So what gem am I talking about that not a lot of people have heard about? It is called The Cottage. Can we see that shit? Yeah, The Cottage. This horror comedy was released in 2008 and starring Andy Serkis. If you don't know that name, it's probably because I fucked it up, but he was Claw in Black Panther and Smeagol in, that was horrible, but Smeagol in Lord of the Rings. Now, in this movie, he's a different kind of character. This film, he is an asshole that orchestrated the kidnapping of a beautiful blonde lady, and she has a very, very rich father, so hence why they kidnapped her. The plan, of course, doesn't go very well. Now, on top of the plan not going very well, all of a sudden, we're creeping towards our third act, and we're kind of given hints as to why they shouldn't have been on this land. Then we soon find out why. As the kidnappers' plans are going horribly to hell, all of a sudden we get to see our antagonist, alright? Again, we had no idea this was a horror movie until they stumbled upon this property, and we are introduced to an ugly, I swear, what is with all bad guys in movies like Jason Voorhees, Victor Crowley, whatever, like, why are they all ugly? I mean, why? Look at these guys. You see what I mean? Sickens me. Well, maybe it shouldn't because I don't know the whole backstory, but what I do know is that the final act of The Cottage will have you gripping your pillow and still laughing at the same time, because the whole time, whenever these horror elements are happening, there is a very entertaining and highly comedic musical score to go with all the scares, so I'm very confused. I don't know if I should be screaming or laughing because I'm seeing terrifying images, but the music says otherwise. So The Cottage, I swear, is a hidden treasure that you guys should watch immediately. Please. So that's it right there, guys. 5 horror comedy movies that I feel are some of the best blended collaborations to be out there right now that nobody really talks about. So those are 5 that I like watching anytime, and I highly suggest for you to enjoy. As usual, I apologize, but please click like and subscribe. Tell others to do the same. I love having conversations with you guys. Please be on the lookout. I've got some more lists coming out of top 5, top 10, who knows, and some other new releases that just came out. So my name's Gilbert Ybarra. Thank you for watching the Attic Review. Smile, Tiger.